My respect story is about my personal experience at my doctor's appointment. I was supposed to receive a shot that day, and I wasn't aware about it, and my parents weren't aware. The nurse insisted on giving me the shot. She was forcing it upon me. She didn't really explain what it was about or what it would do. So my parents and I were very confused. We asked for my real doctor, and she just said no and said it wasn't a big deal. It was just a normal shot, and insisted on giving it to me. So the doctor finally came in, and we asked him what it was about and how it was going to affect my body, and we told him we didn't like how I was being treated by this nurse. But he said that I didn't need the shot at the time, and I wasn't ready for it, and it wasn't necessary. So they left, and that's it.
So what do you think you learned from that experience?
I learned that it's important to stand up for yourself and say when you don't think something's right, and say no and let them know.
So when I was a young boy, back in the 1st and 2nd grade, I was a Navy brat, so a dependent of my dad was in the Navy for 20 years, and we lived abroad. And when we lived abroad over in Italy, it was a small school, Navy families, and at that point, athletically, I did really well. I was the kid scoring all the goals in soccer. And in class, I was getting straight A's, and I was really top of my game, academically, athletically, all that good stuff. So life couldn't get any better for a 2nd grader, in my opinion, right? So things are going well. And then, of course, by the nature of the military being the military, my father got transferred. So we had to come back to the United States, and we were transferred he was transferred to Newport, Rhode Island, where I went to school in Middletown, Rhode Island. So a new school, diverse population, much larger school. Over in Italy, I had like 8 people in a class. Now all of a sudden there were 40 of us, and so it was a lot different. And I remember my very first day, here I am, all happy to be here. I'm gonna, just like happened in Italy, I was top of my game. I'm gonna be top of my game here in Rhode Island. And I'm walking down the hallway, got my backpack on, and this guy kneels in front of me. I'm like, what's this guy doing? Well, shortly following, I got shoved hard in the back, and over the guy I go, toppling. Backpack flies off. I hit the floor. Here I am. I'm brand new, thinking that everything's going to go great. And I'm on the floor. I'm embarrassed. I'm crying, bleeding, actually, because I hit the floor pretty hard with my elbows. And, just not feeling very good about myself. It was a really quite, I was quite distraught. And so yes, I felt I was considerably disrespected, physically so, by those young boys who actually I don't even remember their faces to this day. So.
And what did you learn from this specific experience?
What did I learn from this experience? I think I learned that, it's okay to strive for good things. It's okay to strive to be the best. But always know that others are going to maybe want a piece of that, and that other people, when you get too lofty, they might want to knock you down a peg. And so have some awareness of your surroundings so that you don't have to be knocked back down. So you can have enough humility, I guess, and be humble when you do things to do them well enough so that people will continue to respect you in your endeavors.
Well, when I was 16 years old, I was shopping for my junior ring dance dress with my grandma. It was very stressful that day, just because I had to continuously try on millions of dresses. Literally, I tried on maybe 200 dresses, and my grandma didn't like any of them. At one point, I ended up snapping at my grandma in front of so many people in the store. I think she felt embarrassed. And at that point, we ended up leaving the store. We actually ended up leaving the mall. When we went home to my house, my grandma told my parents what had happened. When I went downstairs, my parents started yelling at me to never talk to my grandma like that ever again. My dad ended up telling me that I was grounded for a couple of months and I wasn't allowed to go to my junior ring dance. He also stressed about how it was so important to never disrespect my grandma ever again.
And how did this make you feel?
It made me feel horrible. At that moment I wanted to cry because I never wanted to hurt my grandma's feelings. I just felt so guilty.
And what did this experience teach you about respect?
To be completely honest, it taught me to never disrespect my grandma ever again and never talk to anyone like that the way I talked to her at that time.
And do you think that respect has been reestablished between you and your grandmother?
Absolutely. It took us a while to get back to the way we used to be, but she forgave me, and I think I appreciate her for that because I never meant to disrespect her.
Okay, my story is about respect in the workplace. And what happened was I worked for a security company. They sent me to northern New Hampshire to work with a client that was having difficulty with their security staff. The woman that was running the program was in-house security, and she kept trying to set her people up to make them fail. She didn't show them any respect. It was not a pleasant place to work. People didn't feel safe. They were afraid for their jobs. So I went in there, and immediately she put me on the midnight shift. So I couldn't interact with the people that I needed to speak with. I couldn't see how she performed her duties. So I just kept doing my job. I created new programs. I worked with the few people that were on the midnight shift. Eventually, she moved me to the day shift and started listening to what I had to say. She began working with me. We developed some new programs. She started treating people better than she had, and we worked together, and it was a better place to work. People were staying. We were getting things accomplished, and I wouldn't say that we parted friends, but we had respect for one another.
And what would you say you learned from this experience?
I think I learned that if you give respect, you will gain respect. And I try to put that into play wherever I work. Here at the university, I respect my officers, I respect my coworkers, and I'd like to think that they respect me too. I do have respect for the students, faculty, and staff also. It's a great atmosphere here, and I really enjoy it.